Saturday Social is powered by EA Sports FIFA 23 with PlayStation.
Now, we've spoken Man United and Arsenal in part one, so we're going to draw our attention to transfers now, because we are well and truly into the January transfer window. There's about 10 days left, I think, if my maths are right, until the window shuts. Hopefully, yeah. And we're going to get the guests to give us a name that every single club needs to sell. So one player, each club needs to sell. That could be January, it could be later on, and a reason why. That's pretty much it, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, I think what we should caveat it with is they can leave for a multitude of reasons, can't they? They could potentially be leaving to take a step up. Maybe they needed a loan move, but they could also be leaving because you just don't think they're good enough
for that club,
at this time. Both have magnets. You're going to come to a decision on the one. We'll start with Arsenal, doing it in alphabetical order. Let's reveal it at the same time. Who have you gone for Arsenal?
Lokonga.
Cedric and Lokonga. Surely two different types of reasoning here.
Yeah, so I've gone for the fact that he's still a young player that needs more game time. He's not out of favour, but he's not getting many minutes under Arteta, not even in cup games, not even a full 90. And I feel like he's still got more to show and to give. And I feel like he needs to have an opportunity at another club.
So a loan move for Lokonga to leave. You've gone for Cedric.
I have. I think Sambi Lokonga's got more chance of playing than Cedric. You've got Tomiyasu, who's up ahead of him, and obviously Ben White, the starting right-back, who's been absolutely unbelievable. And since Cedric's kind of come into Arsenal, has never managed to nail down a starting place. I think he was actually even brought in as backup even then. And he's gone even further down the pecking order. So, I think a reunion with maybe Marco Silva at Fulham would be really
that's a good shout.
Yeah, you're both right. I mean, neither have had much game time. Only start this season for Cedric was in the League Cup defeat to Brighton. Only 2 Premier League starts for Lokonga. So they're 2 good shouts from the guests. But I think, Pippa, it's only right that you get the final say because you're the Arsenal fan. Who are you going with?
Give him a chance. I'm going to go Lokonga.
Okay. Flex, you're going to have to
get him on, Flex.
Stick it up, I think. It's over this side of the board.
Next up, Aston Villa. So again, same rules apply. One player that you've picked that you think would benefit or needs to go. Your reasoning, but who have you gone with?
Callum Chambers.
Ooh.
Ollie Watkins.
Wow.
Why are you surprised?
Wow. Because Aston Villa is his level.
Yeah, and I'd just like to say, obviously, Danny Ings has recently gone from Villa, so you'd think that they wouldn't want to sell Ings and Watkins, would they?
I know, that is true, but that is very recent news as of yesterday. So, I just feel like he can give more. For someone that missed out on promotion with Brentford for getting into the Premier League, he got the signing to Villa and he's proven himself pretty much for most of the seasons that he's played in the Premier League, and I feel like he can offer more to a bigger club.
Before I get to Callum Chambers, I'm just going to disagree. I think that Ollie Watkins is actually at the perfect club. I think that is his level. And actually now Unai Emery's gone there and they're going to change the way they play. They're going to be a bit more proactive, you would think. I just think he's at the perfect
I know
club.
Villa fans are not going to like this.
On that, what level you talking then, Pippa? Where do you think he could play? You said he could be at a...
I think he could do well at a Tottenham or a Chelsea.
Wow. Arsenal?
Another winger for Chelsea.
I wouldn't mind him at Arsenal as well.
Another forward for Chelsea.
I know, but they've got too many players. They've got too many.
I've gone for Callum Chambers, and the reason why I've gone for him is I feel like he needs to reignite his career once again. That was what the Aston Villa move was supposed to be. Looked okay early on and just hasn't really featured at all. And then Unai Emery's come in again, so that's another change of manager. They've had quite a few different changes of manager, obviously, from Gerrard, from Dean Smith. And now, I just think he's so far out of favour. So for him and for his career, I think it would be best to get a move.
OK, the guests are going to disagree, so shall we have this final decision? I don't think Villa would let Watkins...
Not after
this. I know.
It's unfortunate because Ings has moved so recently.
Yeah, to be fair to Pippa.
Pippa might have printed off the magnets before Danny.
We'll go with Callum Chambers then for Flex, which is nice. They've had one each so far.
Absolutely, yeah. Bournemouth. I think we should reveal this at the same time because I think we might have 2 of the same names.
Here we go.
Potentially.
Philip
Billing.
Yeah.
We can rattle through this one then. Why Philip?
I think he's got bags of ability. I quite like him. I like the way he moves on the ball. He's got a great left foot on him as well. He scores. When he does score, he scores great goals. And I just think in a more progressive team, obviously not fighting for relegation and stuff, maybe mid-table, I think Philip Billing could be an asset.
OK, we both agree. Let's get him up. Bournemouth joint top
All you've got to do is agree with me, Pippa. That's easy.
Whatever.
This season. Brentford. Now,
you're not going to agree.
Let's see who you think should go for Brentford, because Flex... Big name for you here, Ivan Toney.
Ivan Toney. Who have you got?
I've gone for Johan Wissa.
Right.
Bearing in mind, Brentford fans watching this, so go on and explain this, because they won't be happy.
Of course. And if I was a Brentford fan, I would not want to lose this guy. He is a talisman. He is an absolute bundle of goals, the best penalty taker in the world, like Thomas Frank says. Yes, I believe he is. But if you're talking about someone like Ollie Watkins who can give more, This guy in the top 6 team, I think,
Yeah.
would be absolutely fantastic. He could play for Spurs. He could play for
United,
Chelsea.
let's face it, with the
could he
number
play
9
for
crisis
United?
as
Yes,
well.
we just got Wout Weghorst for a loan, you know. So Wout Weghorst can play for Man United. So can this guy. I think he's got a lot more to give.
Yeah, I was going to go with Tony, but I thought it was too much of the obvious choice. Now, he's been linked so many times and hasn't left yet. So I feel like he's either settled at Brentford or they don't want to let him go. But this guy, however, his bundles of
Visser.
quality.
Visser.
Yeah.
And obviously he doesn't get much game time with players like Mbeumo and Tony in the team.
Yeah.
But this guy needs to play more games because he is quality.
On the market, who's getting more? What's the transfer
Well,
fees for these
hey,
two
that's
players?
not fair, is
To be
it?
fair, the question was who needs
Yeah.
to leave.
Yeah. Different
Yeah.
reasons for these two, isn't it?
It's
It's
a tough one.
Is he ready to make the step up? Is
I
he
think
ready for
Tony
more?
is. I totally agree that Tony could.
I mean,
make a
I'm not
step up
mad
for
He
about
could
that.
take Tony's place.
Yeah,
when he
of course,
goes.
yeah.
13 goals and 17 Premier League appearances this season, Ivan Toney. He's having a great
Wow.
season.
Isn't it after Harry Kane? He's the highest scoring English player.
Okay,
Right,
I think
we need
we're
a
going to have to make a
decision.
decision.
Any of you firstly prepared to go with the other one? Or
I'm not mad about either because I was going to go for Tony.
Okay, then that does sound like you're up, Flex.
Wow,
then I'll let
okay,
you
so
have
Flex
that
is
one.
going
Go on, Flex.
with Ivan Toney, which brings us on to Brighton, Joe.
Yes, it
Careful
does.
of
We
that
can go to Brighton. We can go to Brighton. 'cause
Sorry, Brentford fans, by
Yeah.
the way.
There's a lot of names I think at Brighton that could potentially take a step up if you're looking down that route. Who have we got? Let's reveal.
I've gone for McAllister.
I've gone for Casado. Now,
The
I
midfield
didn't.
duo.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't go for McAllister. Kind of why you didn't go for Tony. That is, he's come back
Yeah.
a world champion. You've got to talk. The whole Brighton squad has got to talk to Alexis McAllister differently, including De Zerbi.
Great World
He's a
Cup
world
champion,
champion.
yeah.
And you saw the welcome that he got when he got back. Actually, it was really nice to see. So I do understand why you've gone for him. But Casado, I think he's another gem. He's another
Had
gem.
a great
Brighton-
game against your Man United, didn't he?
Unfortunately, he did. He absolutely wiped the floor with us earlier on in the season. And you know what? I think he's got bags of talent. I know there has been rumours already with Chelsea making bids that have been knocked back already. So, and De Zerbi spoke earlier in the week about, I can't guarantee that he's even going to be here. So, yes, definitely Casado. Teams are in for him now as we speak.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. This is two really good options. The thing
Money
is about
talks.
McAllister.
Money talks. World
Yeah.
Cup champion. It will be good for the player and good for the club because at this point in his career, this is where the money we make.
I know what you
right?
mean. It feels like even if they don't want to get rid of him, this is the time as a world champion that they could. The
stocks are
premium's
high,
up
they
and his
could
stock's high, and they could get a good return
really
for him.
good point.
So I feel like that even if they didn't want to lose him, they might entertain that because
Yeah.
obviously
And you
what
back
he's worth
Brighton
now.
to replace them.
One thing I'll say about Brighton, by the way, if I was a Brighton fan, it wouldn't matter who you
Recruitment.
lose because whenever they lose someone, they recruit someone who's
know.
absolutely brilliant.
Lost Cucurella, bought in a stupid.
yeah, he's Basuma, they get rid of class.
It's not even
players
just
all
the
time.
players. Graham Potter. If
Yeah.
you look at
Yeah.
that and say, well, he's probably
Yeah.
the orchestrator. If they lose him, what are Brighton going to be? Look at De Zerbi's done.
Should we go with Alexis McAllister then?
Sounds like
with
you're
the amount of
keen. Sounds like
interest.
you're keen. Let's get him out.
Okay.
Let's get him
Close
out.
one, though,
You've
tough
already
one,
reached that one, Pippa.
Next up, who we got? Chelsea. Very tough for this with the amount of players they've got.
Take your
Surely
pick.
there's a different type of
They've
reason
got
there. 'Cause we
two
talked about a lot of
players.
players taking a step
Who
up,
have you gone
leaving
with?
and taking a step up. Are we talking about a different reason of leaving?
Right,
Ah.
Pulisic
Yeah.
and
Pulisic.
Aubameyang. I'm going to go to
I
Pippa
can hear
first
that.
Yeah.
because Aubameyang's a player as an Arsenal fan you know very well. So why is he in your hand?
Just not working out, is it? It's not good for the club and not for the player.
Only one Premier League goal this
Yeah.
season.
And he's not starting as much.
I feel like you're
recently
enjoying it though.
either. Really? No. No, I still got love for him, but no, it's not working out then. I feel like for the better of the club, they've got a lot of work to do overhaul-wise, and this should be where they start.
You know, he's yet to complete 90 minutes
Yeah.
for Chelsea, and he's been subbed off on all 10 starts.
He went there for Thomas Tuchel, and Thomas Tuchel went straight away, so he was left in the dark by himself. To be
He
honest,
came on as a sub the other day and got subbed back
and
off.
sub back
so-
off. Yeah, exactly.
That's a-
It's
that's a
looking
little-
really bleak. And if I'm honest, that situation, although even for Christian Pulisic, it's been kind of the same thing in terms of just can't get going. Was really good before that injury he got. Hasn't been the same since. We could put Hakim Ziyech in there.
Yeah.
We could put quite a few players at Chelsea that need to move on. But they've got so much work to do. But to be honest, with the Aubameyang situation being so volatile is probably a bit of a strong word, but
Bit
he's
toxic
just
though, isn't
so
it? Yeah.
he's just so far off getting any game time.
So you're happy to go with Aubameyang?
I'll go over Aubameyang.
There we go.
Worth pointing out, his goals to games for Arsenal and for Barcelona was very good. And also, worth pointing out as well, he can only go back to Barcelona also
Yeah.
Chelsea this season.
But it could
But we'll
happen.
move on.
Could happen. Let's go to Crystal Palace then. And I think we've got two very different styles of selection here. Let's reveal who we've gone for. Tompkins and Michael Elise.
Elise.
No, it's Zaha.
Are you saying Elise because you think he can step up?
100%. What a player, young talent. I feel like I'm talking as like a recruiter for
Yeah, you are.
Because-
You want all the players?
Yeah, because I would love to have someone like this in my team.
Backing up Saka.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a player.
What a
That's
free
it.
kick as well in the week.
Yeah.
Oh, don't remind
When you
me.
can do that,
Enjoy that,
last
Didn't see it,
minute of
mate.
the game,
Didn't see it.
when your team needs you the most, you got star quality.
Yeah.
I know. I love the fact he just didn't celebrate as well.
Yeah.
You know,
No.
smack one in 30 yards over.
He's not very expressionate, is he?
It wasn't even like against a former club where you sort of go to celebrate and then no. It
Nothing.
was just,
Literally
Fair play.
nothing. I've picked mine off different reasons because I could have said Eze for the same kind of reason. Could have gone with the obvious one in Zaha. But I just wanted to do it differently in terms of players that just like, I just think it's the end. Like, been there, been about the block, Tompkins has. And I just think Crystal Palace have had this big influx of older players coming to the end of their contract. You know, Klein's still there playing. I think even Milivojevic came on the other day as well. So they've got a lot of restructuring to do, and I think they've got to start somewhere by getting players, the players. Like
Right, we need an agreement for Crystal Palace.
Someone sign him up. Sign him up.
I like this idea. I have to say, I like the Elise shout as the backup to Saka. Let's get Elise up. Let's go.
The
with
more
Elise.
attractive one.
Needs to leave for a step up in quality.
Okay.
Next club.
Everton, and I believe, I could be wrong, but you've gone with the same
on.
player.
Bear with me,
We'll have a
the
look
nails
at
are
your
tricky.
magnets.
The nails.
Just trying to
Work
find the
it out
magnets.
here.
Ready?
Yeah.
Who you gone with?
you got the same.
Jordan Pickford.
Wow.
Nice
okay.
and easy.
Why?
And where does he go?
I feel
Spurs.
like 100%.
Spurs.
Lloris out.
Yeah.
Pickford in, and then I'm thinking Henderson from Forest to Everton. I've just kind of got that.
Yeah.
Wow, he's worked out the
I've
whole
got the
map.
same game plan.
Yeah, so we definitely
as
definitely
England number
agree on
one,
that.
he
Okay.
should be playing at, dare I say it, a bigger club such
Yeah,
as.
and also they're just fighting relegation back-to-back seasons now.
Yeah.
Bit of a hostile atmosphere there. It's not a good place to be at the minute, Everton, is it?
Don't have to waste too much time with Everton. You've agreed. Let's go to Fulham.
Oh,
Mitrovic.
what? Where's he going to go?
Mitrovic, because like
You're trying to
Ivan,
upset all these London fan bases. Ivan Toney,
Listen,
Mitrovic.
this isn't supposed to just be a walk in the park. This is supposed to be some big tough answers here. And the reason why I've gone with Mitrovic is because similar to Ivan Toney, I think he's proved that actually he can cut it at this level. He's gone through a lot of criticism to say, can he make it here? Didn't work out at Newcastle, you know, record goals in the Championship. And he had that kind of, you know, burden over him coming up this year of how can he be? He's been absolutely brilliant. And look how well Fulham are doing actually because of that as well.
So what should he do now then?
Go up again.
Go where?
Why can't he? If Ivan Toney can play for a top 16, why can't Mitrovic?
The difference is his ages, though. That's the thing I look at. He's a bit older than Ivan Toney. So contract-wise, I don't know who's going to sign him.
Who have you gone with?
I've gone Josh Onaman. I really struggled with this. I just felt like, obviously, he's been unfortunate with injuries. And since they've been promoted, he hasn't played much. So I think it's time for him to get a move.
Actually, also not just the Premier League, he's on for you. Somewhere like AC Milan or somewhere like Juventus or Inter
play.
or someone in the Bundesliga. He can play.
We
Doesn't
have
to be in the
we
Premier
did
League.
put Tony on the board earlier, and McAllister, players that can step up. Would it be unfair to say that Mitrovic can't? I think it probably would, given that he's scoring for fun.
54 English League goals since the start of last season, more than any other player.
Let's put him up then. Let's get him
More
up.
than any
Get
other
him on
player.
board.
Look at that.
Next up, Leeds.
Tough Leeds.
Yeah,
it's
that
really,
is a
really
tough
tough,
one.
isn't it, this one?
Go on, who you gone with? Let's reveal.
Gone for another youngster.
Patrick
Bamford. You've gone with
Obvious,
Somerville.
Obvious. I've gone for another youngster.
You didn't like. Why didn't you like the Bamford shout? I saw your face then. You thought that was just an obvious shout, did you?
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of had his opportunities. He's been at Chelsea, he's been at Leeds, he's been the star guy at Leeds, top striker, but I don't know what other levels he can reach now.
I will say, to be fair to him,
Injuries.
Yeah, that as well.
ankle, hip,
Yeah.
groin injuries. He had that amazing season, didn't he? Where I think he scored like 17
Done really,
goals
really well.
prior to one of the major tournaments, and he was in and around the England squad. And
I think it's because of that as
Then he
well.
had a lot of
Smithy.
injuries.
Yeah, it's not even because I think he's a bad player. I think there's talent in there, and I think he's proved that. I think this is literally the case of where new surroundings, new environment, new challenge, like a clean break away from, you know, injury and you know, being behind other strikers as well, and obviously
And they've
Leeds.
just bought in Ruta for
Exactly,
big
just
old
bought another
fee,
one in.
haven't
So that's why I'm thinking it's probably time for Patrick.
you disagree?
I've only gone for Somerville because I understand why he doesn't get as many starts. He's a young player, he's new to the league. But when he does come on, the chances that he's had, I mean, when you come on and score the winner against Liverpool at Anfield,
Yeah, I think
There's
he's been
some
pretty
star
exceptional. And
quality
he has got an injury at the moment
That's
as
been
well.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can you
he's
see
got a bad
Leeds
injury.
selling him though? I don't know if
No.
I can't
Probably
see Leeds
not.
I think
selling him, mate.
he's such an emerging talent.
Yeah.
I think
gonna
Patrick
keep him for the
Bamford
future,
is
yeah.
a really good shout, especially
Okay.
with the arrival of
Flex is
Ruta.
loving the striker movements in the minute,
Yeah.
isn't he?
I am.
Tony's and
I am.
Mitrovic. So next up, who we got?
Leicester.
Leicester City.
Okay, let's reveal. Who have we got for
Hold
Leicester?
on.
James
Harvey
Maddison.
Barnes.
Ooh,
Harvey
two
Barnes.
really good shouts
Yeah.
here.
Oh, interesting.
No Yuri Tielemans is
Yeah, I
a
was thinking-
surprise.
Yeah, that could have been
I
another
know.
easy one as
Why
well.
have we gone for Madders?
I think he's ready for the step up. We spoke about a lot of players, you know, can play for top 6 clubs. James Maddison is definitely one of them, subject to 2 bids from Newcastle in the summer. They didn't want to let him go. Obviously, Leicester in need of big overhaul. They need reinvestment. They need a restructure. They need refreshing in every way of the sense. But I think James Maddison, you're talking about numbers. I waxed lyrical about Bruno earlier on in the show about putting numbers on the board. This man puts numbers on the board and continuously impacts games. And I think, would I say every top 6 club would take him in their team?
Pretty much.
I'm going to say,
I think there'd be a lot of clubs in for him.
Yeah.
There's just 2 top scorers, by the way.
That's the thing, though.
Vardy 7 Premier League goals, Barnes 6 Premier League goals.
This is why I would go for Barnes, because I feel like Maddison has been, on the transfer block for a long time now. Still no one's picked him up. I don't know what the reason is for that. But with Harvey Barnes, he's still got... I feel like he's the unsung hero at Leicester. When you look at Leicester, you say Vardy first, then James Maddison. But Harvey Barnes has got the quality, the goals in him, and he's a player that you need in your team.
I disagree with in terms of, but I think he's been really disappointing. I think he hasn't kicked on. I think he's direct and he's quick, and I think the end product.
Harsh, you are harsh.
Honestly, I'm just being honest, and I like Harvey Barnes, but I'm only calling it as I see it. I think he's stagnated massively.
Wow.
Maybe that's the reason he needs to leave then. Maybe.
True.
Should
Maybe
we go with
the
who's more likely
environment.
to leave then? Who do you think is more likely out of the
I think at the moment it's probably Maddison.
probably
isn't
is
it?
Maddison.
Yeah, all right, put Madders on. Next up, Liverpool. Now, there are 2... I looked at this.
These names have shocked
2
me.
huge names, Liverpool fans.
Well, yeah, just relax.
Look away
Liverpool
now.
fans.
Yeah,
Direct
this
your
isn't Joe
comments
and me.
Towards Flex and Pippa.
Who have you
Please
gone with?
don't.
Pippa, you've gone with Mo Salah and Virgil
Mo
van
Salah.
Dijk. Okay, go on. So why should Mo Salah leave Liverpool for you, Pippa?
I think the romance period, the honeymoon period's over now.
He signed a contract in the summer.
I know.
Go on, why
but
do you think it's over?
everything's changed in the summer, hasn't it? They're not the Liverpool that they was beginning of the summer. There's obviously he can stay another year and kick on and wait for the team to get in full flow of Nunes and the other front 3 players, but I just don't feel like this is where he should spend his last few years.
Okay, what's your reasoning behind Virgil?
Past his best.
Oh, come on, Flex.
what?
Best.
That's
Come
way
on.
more harsh than what I
Past
said.
his best. Is he the same player?
His best was like one of the
Right, but
greatest
he's
of all
past
time
that.
in that position.
So you think
One of the
Liverpool-
greatest of all time. This is what I mean, right? I don't know about modern
Not the,
football.
but one of.
Right, and Liverpool fans will tell you that he's the greatest centre back ever and all this stuff of the Premier League, and absolutely no chance for me.
No chance.
I think
So
now,
not even in the conversation for you.
now Liverpool are more open, and he has to defend more in one-on-one situations. I'm seeing him turning back towards his own goal, getting done. More mannequin challenge than anything. Old Trafford trying to just look big, make poses, try and block fit. Nothing. And since that injury, he's not been the same Virgil van Dijk.
So for
It's
you,
an uncomfortable
Liverpool
truth.
Liverpool need to sell Virgil van Dijk because he's past his best, in
Move
your
on.
opinion.
Wow, it's
I think I might have
That
escaped
is a
the
big
backlash
shout.
with that one. I don't think they're going to get onto me too much because that's insane.
Who are we putting up
How
here?
do we decide? I mean, Mo Salah or Virgil van Dijk? How do we decide with that?
I'll let you decide.
Oh, my word.
We've got to pick one of them. Who we go with?
I think for someone, the reason why I picked Mo Salah is because if Liverpool wanted to get money from this guy, they should have done it last season.
Okay.
Because I feel like he's missed that
Yeah.
window for them to get a big cash injection.
Good point.
Because
Yeah, good point.
That
Pippa wants Mo
period's over.
Salah up.
That period's
So
over.
we'll let you have
Wow.
Mo Salah. Wow.
Can't believe it.
Let's move on.
Can't believe what I'm seeing. And I can't believe what I'm seeing now
Saying
either.
that.
Manchester City. Pippa,
your team.
what has gone on here? Don't say it. What has gone on here?
Who do Man City need
Right,
to sell
I'm
for
ready
you?
for the backlash. Look
Go
away,
on.
City fans.
Kevin De Bruyne.
That's worse than my Van Dijk shot. that.
Honestly.
I don't know.
What's
Kevin
happening
De
here?
Bruyne.
So you think Man City needs to sell Kevin De Bruyne?
Kevin De Bruyne is arguably, not even arguably, Manchester City's best player for seasons consistently and in the Premier League overall. But I do not see him win the Champions League there. And for that reason, I feel like he needs to go.
Wow. So you think he needs to leave to win the Champions League?
Yeah.
So what? Go like Real Madrid or
I'm
something
thinking
like
Real Madrid, get in the mix with those young midfielders, Tuchemeni,
Wow.
Camavinga,
You've gone
fire it up.
I've gone with Bernardo, actually, because I think it's been on the cards for the last couple of seasons, especially in last summer. It was looking like he was going to move, didn't quite. And City's midfield does need a bit of a revamp. You've got Gundogan getting to the end of his contract, could have chosen him. And I just feel that it's going to be past this new challenge. I think he's a fantastic player.
I don't think we can put Kevin De Bruyne up, so let's...
Yeah, he's on
I
the
guarantee you.
longest run without a
get
goal
Ronaldo
in
up.
club football in his
Yeah.
career. But so get him up because I'm not being part of a Kevin De Bruyne.
You know
sold.
what? I guarantee you after this, that Man City are going to win Champions League. I've said that.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got to fly through the next few. So
Yes.
Man United, let's hear from both of you. But obviously, Flex, you're the Man United fan. We gave Pippa the Arsenal one, so you've gone Harry Maguire.
I've gone with you.
And is that
I've got Martial.
Oh, okay, why?
I've gone with the captain, Harry Maguire, because I think his game time has been scarce. Luke Shaw even starting at centre-back over him. Harry Maguire will see it as he's played in massive games for England, big games for Manchester United, played Champions League. He will see himself as the captain of the club. He's had a taste of what it is to be at the top end of football, and he's not going to like that. He's not getting any game time, so he's going to have to move.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. You know better than me, but I just feel like you can put that out there. I
Well, then, put him on.
I see what you're saying there. I do see what you're saying there, though.
Under different managers,
I
he
see what
hasn't
you're
really
saying
kicked on, so...
Yeah.
Okay, next club, Newcastle.
This was really hard for me,
Yeah.
but I've gone John Joe Shelby.
It's a really good shout.
Good shout.
I've gone Jamal Lascelles because they've kicked on. Botman's been outstanding. Dan Burn's been outstanding. And he's never going to get back in, to be honest. He was captain as well. Now that's Trippier.
I think Shelby's a good shout. Bearing in mind, look at his all 3 Premier League appearances as sub this season, had injuries as well. I think Pippa's had a good
Just put
shout.
him
with
up
that one. Nottingham Forest, again, disagreement.
Yep.
So just who have you gone with and why for this?
I've gone with Brennan Johnson.
Oh, good shout.
Yeah.
I've gone Gibbs White, time to step up.
Gibbs White.
White.
But they've just...
What? Why are you reacting like this?
These are 2 very interesting shouts as well, because I think these are 2 of their best players
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah, they are. To be fair, I think we're probably being a little bit gun-ho because they've only started getting into their form and we're like, they're better than Forest. Let's.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think Forest are an interesting proposition because they've got so many players who've just got there, so many players on short-term deals. I thought of Jesse Lingard, I thought of Henderson. I'm like, those deals are coming to the end of the season.
I think it's a tough one, but Gibbs White, most goals and assists for Forest in the Premier League this season. Only joined recently, of course, as
They're
well.
not- they're not letting
Although
him
most
go.
players have only just
What level
joined.
do you think Gibbs White can play at?
Some might say it's not a step up. I could see him at West Ham.
Okay. It's big,
So, who we going
big
with?
transfer fee in the summer.
We're going with you?
Yeah, going Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we'll go
Okay.
Brendan Johnson.
Okay, let's go to the next side then. Southampton.
It's got to be easy, innit?
I know, I should have gone
Ward-Prowse.
for him, but do you know why I didn't go for him? Because, like I said with the other ones, it's been an ongoing thing and hasn't happened. So when is it going to happen?
You've got Livramento. One thing I would say, he's been out with an ACL injury,
Yeah.
so I think, does that make any transfer a little bit
Harder.
unlikely?
Hard this summer maybe, and James
But-
Ward-Prowse.
Yeah.
You know, if Southampton were to get relegated, whisper it. I hope it doesn't happen, Southampton fans, but
Best
Yeah,
set
Neil
piece.
Prowse.
Best
Most
set piece
likely.
taker.
Okay,
Yeah,
Pippa's
most
conceding
likely.
with Ward-Prowse. So we move on
what he is.
to Tottenham. So what have we gone with here?
Harry Kane.
And Conte. Oh,
Oh,
God.
not Conte.
that's
I didn't know we could do
a-
managers.
Is
About
it
to make me
exclusive to
cry.
players or is it, you know?
And you've gone with Lloris.
I've gone with Lloris because that Kane side is boring now.
Oh,
as well, like-
how can you make me more upset? You've gone with our...
Take your pick, mate.
No, but
Kane is the captain
honestly,
and
he
top
has to go.
I think
has to.
this
You
is
think
a really
Lloris?
interesting shout, especially with the
Yeah.
high-profile errors recently, Pippa.
Spurs are linked with a few. You mentioned earlier, linked with a few keepers. David Raya, Jan Oblak,
You
we
just
saw.
don't think he's good enough for him?
I don't think he's good enough for Spurs. And for Spurs, who that said in the next couple of years they want to win and compete at the highest level, this is not the keeper that's going to take them to the highest level.
What about Harry Kane being just be too good for Spurs?
But we've been saying that for years. Where's he going? He's not going anywhere.
But he tried to go Man City and it didn't work.
He's locked in.
And I was going to try and go
If
Man
we're looking at
United.
what's more likely, though, do you think, obviously, Lloris has been a fantastic player for
I
Spurs
think what's more
over the
likely
years,
is
but
that-
they are linked with other keepers, which would suggest, and
gotta
of course
go.
his age as well. You'd think Harry
I
Kane
think
would
what's
be a
more
big
likely is
fee.
Conte's just going to walk soon. That's what's more likely out of all of
He's
them.
just here to banter you.
No, I'm not.
Lloris
I'm just being, I'm being honest.
By the way, another striker. He's gone Kane, Tony, Mitrovic. He just wants strikers up the door, this man, doesn't he? For United.
Yeah.
West Ham then.
I've gone Deckers.
Oh.
Souček.
Oh.
Very underwhelming. You spoke about quite a lot of the ongoing thing, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of what Declan
I
Rice has
know.
been. But he's like the
me.
obvious, like, gonna go Chelsea or he's gonna go Man United or he's gonna go wherever that's
Well,
I'll say Arsenal.
Very, very heavily
Or
linked
Arsenal.
to Arsenal
Yeah.
this week. You'd
Yeah,
take him presumably
exactly.
at
I
Arsenal.
would, yeah.
Yeah, so
much
he's
did he pay for
definitely
him?
got to step up.
That's a tough question because he's going to be so expensive
Yeah, he
now.
will be,
English
really.
pedigree as well. Like, I think it's probably asking price is like 80 mil or something
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, they'll probably try and even get
I
more.
don't think that's that bad. 80 million for Declan Rice in the current market,
current
where we're
market,
seeing
yeah.
movements of players for 100 million
Very
pounds,
young player as
like
well.
Mudryk.
Yeah.
I think Declan Rice for 80 is
Need a
good.
decision, any of you?
Souček, I just think, has been really underwhelming. Had a couple of good seasons, and then I think now we're seeing the player that he actually is.
I do think though that Declan Rice, with his links this week to
Get him
Arsenal,
on the
it's
board.
more likely.
I think
Okay.
leaving wise,
He's
I
going.
think it's a big step up time for Declan Rice.
Which just quickly, very quickly leaves us on our last player, Wolves. Who have you gone with?
Ruben Neves.
What a shout. I've gone Pedro Neto.
Ooh. Go on, explain, Pippo.
Young, talented, very good player. Simple.
Yeah.
And time to step up.
Yeah, been out with injury for a
Yeah.
long time,
Long
I
time,
think.
that's a bit sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ruben Neves, a little bit like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? It's going to happen. And I think
Yeah?
it happens in the summer. He's going to go somewhere.
Where's he going?
Could go United.
How many
could
more
go
players do you
Chelsea.
want?
Loves
could
scoring
go
at Worldie,
abroad.
doesn't he? Loves
Yeah,
scoring at
I
Worldie.
think he's a
Let's say with Chelsea's midfield issues and players coming out of contract in the summer,
Could go
it's an
Spurs.
awful lot worse than Ruben Neves.
Most touches, shots, tackles and possession one for Wolves in the Premier League this season. Loves a goal
Could
from
go
outside the
City.
box, as we know.
Could go
Are
City.
we going Ruben Neves then, bearing in mind Pedro
Ruben
Neves
Neves.
injured?
I think we should
Sorry,
go
Ruben.
Ruben Neves.
OK, we'll go Ruben Neves. So that concludes it. That is confirmation of one player that Pippa and Flex think should leave every single Premier League club. Enjoyed that. Some good reasons as well from both the guests there. Time for another quick
he
break.
doing there?
Don't
Down.
go
Take
anywhere.
Salah off, honestly.
All right, we
Take
have put
Salah
Van
off.
Dijk on.
No, bin it.
It's time, we're